Hello, everybody. This is Lee. I'm going to be doing some called classical talk. Now, a lot of people who like what I do, my YouTube videos, a lot of them, they don't really listen to classical music. Maybe a few do, but for the most part, most of my audience is like, get to the rock music. So I consider them at the moment to be like bugs that I want to shoo away with a broom, unless they're willing to listen to this and be okay with it. Okay. I'm going to do this episode, the first one, on a guy named Wilhelm Furtwangler. He's mostly known as a conductor. He conducted different symphonies and stuff, but he also wrote music, and that's what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about specifically his second symphony. It's about an hour and a half long. So some people might be like, hey, we're not going to listen to that. You know, I've heard stuff that's even longer. Stuff that I enjoyed. So I'm not going to refer a lot to the length, except I will say at first, if you see the length of the symphony, you might find it to be daunting. And for those of you who don't know what the word daunting means, I'll use another word. It might be kind of like a warning, as in, don't approach this. If you're someone who has attention deficit disorder and you can't stay sitting down and listening to something for long periods of time, I'm not saying that that's bad, but I am going to say that it is going to make it hard for you to sit and listen to something for a long period of time. Okay. Wilhelm Furtwangler, he had reputations. I don't want to get into them much. I will say that if you read about him, you can come up to your own conclusion. I think that he was generally a guy who wanted his music probably to be heard and had the idea that maybe it might not have been heard or would be his own music. His conducting, he did a lot of conducting of other people's music. But, okay. His second symphony, I decided to listen to a version of it that was conducted by a guy named Wilhelm, who is a quite good conductor. I don't know whether he wrote music or not, but as a conductor, he was quite good. And yeah, the recording was from the 50s, so it was a mono, but from what I understand, they remastered it in the 90s and made it sound as good as it could. And I had no problem with it. It was quite well done. And Of course, there were maybe a little bit of, audio things, because if it's a recording from the 50s, you're not going to make it sound like it was recorded now. But aside from that, I would say, okay, the first movement is about close to about like 26 or 27 minutes long. And the last movement is the same length. And then the middle movements are about 15 or 16 minutes long. We're talking approximately about an hour and a half in length. Okay. But when you hear it, you realize that the length is only the length. And the way that Furtwangler does the music, he makes it flow. So you don't feel like he's wasting your time. You feel like he has a lot to say and he's saying it. So for me, I found I was able to listen to the whole thing without any problem. I wasn't tapping my fingers on the desk or saying, oh my word, when is this over? I had no problem with that. Now, there are different critics who have different opinions on the work that he did. But what I will say is, as far as I'm concerned, it's a matter of if you want to, try listening to Wilhelm Furtwangler, go for it. I would say listen to the Second Symphony. I'm going to try and listen to the First Symphony also, but I wanted to listen to the Second Symphony especially because that one was the one that is the longest. But yeah, I would say also check out some of the other things of Wilhelm as a conductor, but especially listen to his version of Wilhelm Furtwangler's Second Symphony. Furtwangler also conducted his own symphonies, so you can hear them too, but I wanted to hear a conductor who I knew was really good. Anyway, I'll be doing other classical music things in the future. This is the first. Take care, everybody. Bye.